So welcome
Okay.
back to the podcast.
Oh gosh. This is gonna be a bad podcast because I'm not prepared.
Okay, I'm extra prepared.
Okay. Okay. Your your thing is stuck though. Okay. It's it's better now.
Okay, cool, cool. Um, so well, first of all,
Uh-huh. Oh gosh. I am
yeah,
not
so I have
telling
the
you anything again.
Kobo. I
Oh
have the
gosh.
Kobo. It's awesome.
You hate
Um,
it.
yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I enjoy
Mm,
it a lot. Like
mm,
it definitely has bugs, which is my issue with it, is that like it's
okay.
buggy for me.
So
Sometimes like
how's
if
it
I'm trying
buggy?
to like
Mm,
sometimes if I'm trying to like highlight across a page,
yeah,
sometimes it
yeah.
will just like freeze.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and like yeah, if I'm trying to do things fast, I guess it kind
Oh,
of just
okay,
like
quickly.
locks up at times. So that's annoying.
Okay. Okay.
But I really like having being able to take notes and stuff. One thing I like
Oh,
I'm doing is that I have
uh-huh.
like a notebook, which is called like book notes, and then I have the book that I'm reading, and then
Uh-huh.
I just swipe between them, and I can be like taking notes as I like not even just annotations, like kind of I guess
Yeah,
more
yeah,
summary notes.
yeah, summary
Yeah.
notes. Yeah.
So the book I'm reading now is How to Read a Book. I finally started reading it. And so
Mm-hmm.
they'll be like, oh, these are
Mm.
the different types of reading. So I'll highlight
Yeah,
it
yeah,
and then
like
I'll
it's
go to my
yeah.
notes and then write, okay, this is the different types. So I'm getting a lot out of this.
Great,
And the thing is
great.
that like whenever it does
Mm-hmm.
like a buggy thing, it annoys me.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I can't go back to not being able to like do these things. So
Yeah,
it's annoying actually, but like
yeah,
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 it is what it is.
yeah. Probably it'll improve because it's their first one, I guess.
Yeah, which is why I was telling you that
Yeah,
if they create
yeah.
another one, I'm actually going to have to get it, like
Get it. Mm-hmm.
because I just can't
Don't
exist
know.
anymore.
You don't know life without making notes on the thing
Exactly.
anymore. Wow,
Yeah,
wow. Great,
exactly. So that's
great.
that's the predicament that I'm in
Oh gosh.
now. But yeah, yeah. So
Fantastic.
how's your week's been, or however long
My week.
since?
I
Yeah. What?
just I just got back to Lagos, so I'm tired.
Okay, fair.
And I'm just feeling a kind of way. I don't know. I'm not feeling like I'm what do you call it? Like my structure is just gone, and I'm just trying to
Mm,
figure out like how I can start like structuring time for Damola to teach him. And I'm just really
mm,
overwhelmed because I'm trying to do my work, teach him, and also like learn languages. Like so, I don't know
mm,
how I'm going to do it. I don't. I feel like so. I'm just feeling like in a between a rock and a hard place because I'm just trying to
mm.
figure that out. So
Fair,
I'm not feeling fantastic. I'm trying to see
fair,
what
fair.
to do. Yeah.
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 So do you have any ideas on how to solve this problem?
I need to give up something, but I don't know how to
Fair.
give up something. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think I can realistically do it all. Like, and it's the languages. Like,
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
need
say
to
that's
learn
probably
Yoruba.
yeah.
I don't need to learn Portuguese anymore, but as in, I don't want to lose Portuguese.
Yeah,
Um,
I get you.
so that's just my thing. Maybe like I don't know. I don't know. I I think it's the languages I have to give up
Yeah, I
for now.
somewhat have the same thing in that like
Mm-hmm.
well, I've just been doing Portuguese on Duolingo
Mm.
because it's
Okay.
kind of low hanging fruits. Is
Roots, yeah.
like I'm not it's not like I'm progressing, but I
But
don't feel
yes,
like I am what's the other word?
losing,
What's the opposite of progressing? Degressing or whatever. Like
regressing.
regressing, right? I don't feel like
Yeah.
I'm regressing, but like or at least I'm
Mm-hmm.
regressing at a slower rate than when I wasn't
Yeah.
doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But once I start like my program, I don't know if I'll be able to do that. And also like the Yoruba lessons as well. Like I don't know that I
Mm-hmm.
will be
Mm-hmm.
able to continue. I mean, I know I'm not going to be able to continue at the like pace that I'm
Like
currently
rate,
doing,
pace,
but
yeah. Mm. Mm,
yeah, but yeah, there's just like no time to do
mm,
everything.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Um, okay, do you want to talk about the book? Like, because I finished the
Yeah,
book
that's what I was
and
saying,
that's what I'm
that this is
prepared
gonna be a
for.
crap. That's what I was saying, that I'm going to have a crap like episode, because I'm really not prepared for it. Like, of course, I've read the book and stuff, but like, I read
Yeah.
it like a while ago, so
Okay,
um,
fine.
I
It's
won't
okay.
have
I
it. It won't
will
be as
like,
fresh. But I
yeah,
did
don't worry. It's
highlight
fresh
some
from
things,
me.
but I didn't like. Yeah,
Okay. At least
so
it's
I
fresh
won't be
from
able to
me,
structure.
so
Yeah, yeah.
it's okay because
Okay.
I finished it like a few days ago, so it's still fresh in
Mm-hmm.
my mind.
So what are we
And
talking
I've
about? And
written notes
explain.
on Notion.
Wow. Wow.
So, well, one of what I want to do is just like
Mm, mm,
maybe you can talk a bit about like how you found the book, but I will
mm.
kind of I want to try and just present like the argument of the book basically, and then
Okay.
we can go through certain points if you want to like talk
Yeah.
about it. But
Okay.
yeah, so maybe you can start since you're the one that found it first.
Okay. So I guess I what do you call it? How do I even start from the book? I guess long
Oh wait,
long story
what is
short,
the
I
book?
found.
Because we have not actually said what the book is either.
Okay. Sorry. The book is called. It's is this the book is called The Case Against the Sexual Revolution by
Yeah,
Louise
Louise
Perry.
Perry.
Uh, Louise Perry, and Louise Perry is a British journalist. Um,
Yes.
and yeah, that's pretty much the what do you call it, the book. And how I discovered it was actually through my family friend, I guess, because we talk a lot about, you know, um, social politics, what's going on, in Nigeria
Mm.
versus England, and all these like, woke things that are happening and stuff. And so we um we've looked into, there's very liberal like social media, and there's the other side, and all and the other side. And I've for over like maybe since like 2020, I've been like seeing that other side a lot. And one of the others that other side opens a lot of interesting doors and stuff. And so I we just she what happened is either that she gave me the podcast to listen to, or I listened to
Mm.
podcast. I
Oh, there's a
found her through
podcast.
a
I didn't even
podcast.
know that.
It's a podcast. She was promoting the book. You know what I'm saying?
Ah,
She was promoting the book. I'll explain. No, I know quite a bit about Louise Perry now because I
okay.
love the book and stuff. And so
Yeah.
she even has a podcast which I listen to one time. Like, if I had the whole time, I would listen to everything, but I have to, pick and choose what I listen to and stuff.
Okay.
But so she was in this podcast called Modern Wisdom. And it's either that my family friend sent it to me, or I sent it to her. I don't remember who sent it to who, but I think she sent it to me. I watched it, I listened to it, I really liked it or something. And then she told me that she actually has a book as well. I was like, that she wants to read and things. And I was like, oh, okay. So I checked out the book, but I didn't read it then. I don't know what made me read it now, because that was like maybe 2 years ago and stuff. So I
Okay.
now finally read the book and I loved it. I now, um, shared it with you, said that you have to read it. Also, like, I have like relatives, young relatives that I even bought the book for. I even told my auntie about it, and she read it and she loved it as well. And yeah,
Mm.
so that's how I sort of discovered it.
All
Yeah,
right, cool, cool.
yeah,
I remember, well, actually, I don't remember you recommending it to
yeah. You don't
me, but
remember?
like, I heard
Yeah.
about it on Ali Abdal's podcast that he does with his brother, and I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
oh, that sounds interesting. And then when I started
Mm,
reading it, it sounded
mm.
familiar because it sounded as
Familiar.
if you had told
Okay.
me about it. That's why I was like,
That
did
is
you
familiar.
recommend this to me?
This is me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I will
Mm-hmm.
try and do like a summary
Okay.
kind of thing.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And well, I guess the overall summary before I even get into the thing is
Mm,
that the book is called The Case Against the Sexual Revolution. So it's basically
mm,
just talking about how in the past, I don't know, however many decades, we've kind of gone through the sexual revolution where
mm,
like, I mean, I guess people know what it is, so I wouldn't necessarily explain it, but like we've sure gone through the sexual revolution, and then it's basically talking about the book is basically talking about why it is not necessarily as just good for women as people kind of think it is, or at least as we have been kind of told that it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to start my summary with two quotes, which I
Oh
think
gosh.
like
Mm.
somewhat like say
Mm.
what the book is about. So the first quote is
Summarize.
this: um, there are a lot of straight men. There are a lot more
Mm.
straight men than there are straight women who are looking for casual sex, meaning that many of these men are left
Mm-hmm.
frustrated by the lack of willing casual partners. As we have seen in the post sexual revolution era, the solution to this mismatch has often been to encourage women brackets, ideally young, attractive ones, to overcome their reticence and have sex, quote unquote, like a man, imitating male sexuality en masse. The thesis of this book is that this solution has been falsely presented as a form of sexual liberation for women, when in fact it is nothing of the sort, since it serves male, not female interests. So I
Mm-hmm.
clipped that. I thought that actually
Yeah, that's a good.
summarizes what the book is about. And then the second
Okay.
quote
Mm.
is basically just like I don't know how many points, which is basically almost like the title of each chapter, basically. So,
Okay.
one, sex must be taken seriously. Two, men and women are different. Three, some desires are bad. Four, consent is not enough. Five, violence is not love. Six, loveless sex is not empowering. Seven, people are not products. And eight, marriage is good. So those are basically the different points that she's making, and then obviously we'll
Mm.
go into some of these points. And I would say I
Mm.
highlighted a few of them that I thought were I guess worth trying to summarize.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one, men and women are different. So this one is like I guess, and I guess first of all to say I would, broadly speaking, say that I identify as the liberal feminist that she talks about throughout this whole book, which is really funny
Mm.
because, like,
Mm-hmm.
um, I mean, it's not like she's saying that they're bad or anything, but it's basically a
Mm.
book saying that what we've been taught as liberal feminists is not necessarily the truth. So I would say from
Yeah.
that aspect to me, it was really eye
Mm.
opening because, like,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
there are so many different things that I would say, oh yeah, I would definitely have made this argument, and then
Yes,
like she kind of
exactly.
like explains stuff, and I'll be like, oh wait,
Yeah. Oh,
interesting,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, because it reminded me of
So
some things that you said. Do you remember when you used to say
I
it? And
don't
I'll be
remember
like,
what
and
one of yeah.
you remember, I would, you gave me a book and I haven't still read it. Do you know what I'm saying about like,
Oh, what book?
sex work is good, is whatever. Sex work is,
Oh, I don't
um,
remember giving you that a book.
you gave me the
Oh, actually,
book.
I sort of remember it, but I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. And I haven't read it yet. Do you know what I'm saying? But as in like,
Yeah, sorry, technical difficulties. So the
yeah,
first
yeah,
one, men and women are different, and
yeah,
basically this is trying to say that there is a some like a lot of the differences
yeah,
that liberal feminists quote
yeah,
unquote would say
yeah,
is
yeah.
that um
Mm-hmm.
the reason for any differences between men and women is mostly
It's
just like
social.
socialization, yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like she basically presents
It's mm-hmm.
the I guess more biological
Cool.
differences, and she
Mm-hmm.
specifically talks
Which
about like um different propensities towards sex between men and women,
mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
the evolutionary reading reasons behind that, like
Mm-hmm.
women generally are the ones that are going to deal with, if they become pregnant, the long-term effects of having sex, so they're
Mm-hmm.
generally going to
Yeah.
be maybe a bit more selective, whereas
Yeah,
men
exactly.
are higher in what she calls like sociosexuality, which is like wanting to have sex with more people. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like in the first quotes, that mismatch between on average men are going to
Mm-hmm.
want to have more sex with more people than women
Yeah.
are, and she's basically saying that
Mm-hmm.
this is like a biological difference as of right now.
Yeah.
Maybe in however many years it will not be, but today we're still like
Yeah.
that different.
Exactly.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then she also points out that men are on average physically stronger than women, which makes like men and women having sex with each other a more like dangerous thing for a woman, because if you're ever alone with a man, like that's just a
Mm-hmm.
position that he can always dominate you.
You need to. Yeah.
So That's like the first point. Second
Mm,
is sex must be taken seriously. So basically saying that
mm,
um like I guess there's this general attitude today that sex is just like any other activity, it's just like anything
that.
else, and there's nothing special about it.
Mhm,
Um, and she's
mhm,
basically saying that, oh, the reason that we actually even are in this position is because of the introduction of like the pill, which has kind of somewhat
mhm,
taken away that risk of pregnancy. So it seems like,
mhm.
okay, if there's no risk of pregnancy, then that means like we can just have sex, quote unquote, like a
Sex.
man and stuff.
Yeah. Mhm,
And so she's basically, I guess her argument is that um there is something inherently different
mm.
to sex. It's
Yeah.
not just like a thing. And that's where the whole,
Mm.
oh, sex work is work arguments that a lot of
Work,
like
yeah, that's what
liberal
they had,
feminists will
and that's
say.
why. Yeah.
Because the arguments when people say,
Mm.
oh, sex work is work, it's more
It's
like,
work.
oh, well, um,
Mm.
there's no difference between having sex with somebody versus like making them coffee, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but
exactly.
yeah, but then the
Mm.
point of the book, or what she's basically arguing, is that like we sort of say that we do, but we don't necessarily believe it. So like there's
Mean
this
it.
quote, it
Yeah,
says,
yeah.
yeah, the quote is that
Mm.
people know intuitively that a boss asking for a blowjob in exchange for a promotion is entirely different from a boss asking for overtime in exchange for a promotion.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
there's the, oh, she gave an argument, the
Mm.
example of like this sex for rent thing, which was happening
Mm.
in like, I think in the UK or something,
Oh,
where,
yeah, yeah. I, I,
yeah,
I
where
thought it was the
landlords,
US you said that. Yeah, yeah,
oh,
it
I
was
don't
like saying,
remember
and they were like,
where,
oh, they
yeah,
found it ridiculous. They were like, oh, that's ridiculous. But like, if you're going to
yeah.
use it as,
Yeah, basically the argument is
like, if
that
it's
if
just,
like if it's
if it's
work,
just
right,
sex,
which means that
eh,
like it is basically has monetary value, then
trade
why can't I
value,
use it to
yeah,
pay my rent? Like
with my rent,
why is it
exactly.
wrong for that?
Wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um
Mm-hmm.
and then so yeah, and then even when she was just talking about the whole sex work as
Mm-hmm.
work thing and just talking about how like actually this leads
Mm-hmm.
into the next one, which is that consent is not enough. And I would say that this is
Mm-hmm.
the chapter that I found the most interesting, or the most like
Okay.
um
Insightful.
insightful, or like challenged what I thought,
Mm.
because I think before I read that I would
Mm.
definitely say yes, consent is what it's all about, but she kind of explained why
Mm.
like I guess, as you said, consent is not
Mm.
enough, right? So I
Yeah.
have um so basically she gave some examples of like people
Mm.
who have worked in the sex industry, and like
Yeah.
at the
Mm.
time they are in it, they
Yeah, they're like,
say,
oh,
oh
it's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, exactly, they
As
say,
in,
oh yeah, this is cool, I'm consenting to
mm.
it, everything is
Mm.
fine. But then later
Mm.
on they kind of
Mm.
say, oh no, actually,
Mm.
that's not, I can't remember the person's name that she gave an example of, but it's
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
famous
Mm-hmm.
movie. um
Yeah.
and she was talking about the main actress,
Mm-hmm.
when it came out, was talking about how
Mm-hmm.
like that yes, obviously she consented to it, it's fine, but then a few years
Mm-hmm.
later she said that anybody who watches this is basically watching me being raped, and she was like, this is not like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
thing. So and what this also even made me think, oh yeah, so this is a note that I wrote, is that like
Yeah.
she didn't actually use this example, but it kind of made me think
Mm.
of like torture, which is maybe an
Mm.
inflammatory example to think to mention, but
Yeah, yeah.
um like people don't accept what you say if you're doing it under duress, right? But
Mm.
so
Mm.
it's like you can
Mm.
give your consent, but if you're doing it
Hence,
as you're
yeah.
being waterboarded, it's not really
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so it's more about saying that like sometimes you can't actually consent because of
Hence,
the situation that you're
situation.
in. So it's not as
Mm-hmm.
simple as, oh, this person is an adult, they can just consent.
Yeah.
It's like,
Mm.
why, like look more at the wider
Mm.
picture and like why are
Yeah.
you in this position? So, and
Mm-hmm.
then the final part I wanted to summarize was
Mm.
marriage is good. And
Mm.
that this part was kind of funny. Not funny, but like I
Yeah.
just thought it was
Yeah.
interesting because
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, and then I'll give the quote that I feel like
Okay.
was very interesting. So it says the reductive feminist analysis of marriage sees it as a method used by men to control female sexuality. And it does do that, of course, but that was never
Mm-hmm.
its sole function. There's also a
Mm-hmm.
protective function to marriage, but it's one that makes sense only when understood in relation to children. So,
Mm-hmm.
what I found, I guess, interesting about,
Mm.
I guess,
Yeah.
the argument she's trying to make is that, yes, there are definitely
Mm-hmm.
negative aspects or bad sides to marriage, but in
Mm-hmm.
the context of if you're trying to um like raise a child together, right? Like she's even said
Yeah.
that, like, yeah, another quote, lifelong monogamy is not our natural state. It's not natural for
States. Yeah.
anybody to
Yeah.
actually be in that. But if
Mm-hmm.
you are like in a situation where like you are raising a child, which kind of goes against like the hyper individualistic like
Take.
society, which just says, oh, you're a person. She even says there's no such thing as a person, it's just a person and someone else. Like you can't just exist
Mm-hmm.
on your own. um and when you go through like having a child, which I'm sure that you know, like
Mm-hmm.
it's, you realize that like you're, that's a relationship in which you are inherently like being a dependent, or somebody's dependent on you. And when you're in
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
situation, like the only thing that can kind of help is also having somebody else who like
Mm.
is actually like legally bound
Until
to
you. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but at least that's like the
Mm-hmm.
argument that she's making. And then one other thing is
Yeah.
that like in general, in all the different arguments that
Mm.
she's making, she's not really saying that,
Mm.
oh, we should just go back to how things were in the past because
Yes,
there
that's
were
what she's
very
saying.
clear
Yeah.
problems. So like that's
Mm-hmm.
like a huge thing. It's not like she's saying, oh, let's go back to
Mm-hmm.
when people weren't allowed to get divorces, or
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
that's not
Mm-hmm.
like the argument she's
Yeah.
making. The
Yeah.
argument she's
Yeah.
making is
Yeah.
that there are like let's not just,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like let's not
Boiled water. Yeah.
say
Exactly.
because there are
Mm-hmm.
issues with this thing, then like
Mm.
everything about it
Just
is
this
bad.
that is
Like
bad. Mm-hmm.
there are bad things to it. And like she said,
Mm.
yes, men have used it to control women, but that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean that like it is
Mm-hmm.
completely like something you
Mm-hmm.
should do. And then she talked about chronological snobbery, which is when we think that
Oh
things
yeah,
today
older
are just
people.
by
Yeah,
default
better.
better than things
Yeah, yeah.
and then you don't
That's something
listen
that
to
I.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Mm.
I'll say that's like the overall
Okay.
summary of it.
Okay.
And
What
um
you've gotten.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Thank
So
you for.
you're
You
welcome.
know, you even brought me like you made me even like remember
Remember
some things.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, remember things and stuff because I have been talking about it honestly, like about I've been discussing it with other people. I gave like you know my staff and stuff like to read and stuff
Mm,
so that I could discuss it and stuff. So it is sort of in my mind still, like and stuff. But just like it's just interesting the things that you pointed out. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
And the things
yeah.
that struck to me and stuff. One thing I now remembered. I now recall more why I even started reading this book because I wanted to understand the differences between men and women. Like, do you know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Like, because um, I think nowadays we're trying to like make men and women look the same, be the same. Yeah, I'm saying and
mm,
stuff. And I don't think that is actually true. Like, yeah, I'm saying I think they're like how we're biologically different. I think it comes out in a psychological way as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? And
mm,
but it's harder to in this society now. It's really hard to differentiate. So I wanted to like read more on the different reasons why, like different aspects of how women are different and how men are
mm,
different. And that's what I think that's what brought me back to reading this book. One of the things because I also read there's another book I read about like why women have sex and yeah I'm saying all these things are like compounding and
mm,
making me understand these things more. So it's interesting like there's some things that you found like the points that she made that intrigued you and stuff. So one of the last
yeah.
things that actually intrigued me of the whole thing. You just mentioned something about how about marriage and
Yeah.
one point I've gotten the point that you just made, but one point for me, I had the chronological age thing. Yeah, I'm saying
Yeah.
about how we are like, we think we're better than the older.
Chronological snobbery. Yeah.
Strawberry were better than, you know what I'm saying? And I see that a
Mm,
lot, you know what I'm saying? And stuff.
yeah.
But even that, without that, what I'm very like, what really struck me at the last thing of her book was when she mentioned that, like, our the time that the space of us graduating and getting married is too long. It's not natural. And
Oh
it
yes, she
struck me.
mentioned
It
this.
struck me
Yeah,
so
yeah.
well. I was like, yes, this is actually not a natural state. That being in your 20s and almost 30, like
Yeah.
middle 30s, being single for that long, I don't think it's actually like, I'm trying to like come to the understanding. It's actually not a natural, like quote unquote, natural
Yeah, I
way
guess that's
of
the question,
living.
right? So
Do you
what
know
do
what
you
I'm
mean by
saying?
natural? But like it's not
No, when I
what's
say
being like
natural, like it's not
done.
something that is that not that, how do I say, like, yes, because of the pill, because of these things that, do you know what I'm saying, that we're taught, like, oh, independence, individuality and stuff like that, we've now stre- like saying that, okay, when you're having kids, you have to have kids, like having kids in your 20s is even young now. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That you
yeah.
have kids in your 30s and stuff like that. Like we've, and that's, and I think for me, why I'm saying that is not natural, quote unquote, like
Mm-hmm.
I actually believe it's not natural because like it's now even biologically it's harder for a woman to get pregnant during the late, your 30s and stuff, right? You should
Mm,
have been, having babies in your 20s and things. Like that's one thing because people are now freezing their eggs and stuff like that,
yeah.
because and having complications and stuff. Another
Which is
thing is
another
that,
scam, actually, which the whole freezing
what's
your
a
eggs
scam?
thing.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. That's
yeah.
what I even found out that that thing is even like, I hear people and they're like, oh, I'll just freeze my eggs. I was like, yeah, sure. Like it's not
Yeah, but
that
this is the thing. This is
straightforward.
another thing is that we've been
Yeah,
told
yeah.
that like, oh, it's fine. Like you can just
Mm.
freeze your eggs. And it's
Eggs,
like
yeah, exactly.
that's also not really always an option. Like I will put, I guess,
Yeah.
in the description or something. Like I
Mm,
think it was a New York Times article or something where
mm-hmm,
somebody was just talking about her experience of it and showing
mm,
kind of how it's a scam, right? How like we're
yeah,
being
yeah,
sold this dream that oh, it's fine, you can just
yeah,
have this as an option for later. But if you
yeah,
actually
yeah,
go
yeah.
through the logistics of
Mm-hmm,
it, how long
yeah.
it takes to even get done, how
Done.
like
Yeah,
the
exactly.
percentage of you going, like the percentage of people who say they're
Getting
going to go and
pregnant.
freeze their eggs to
Yeah.
who actually like come out of it being able to like use those eggs to like
Yes.
have a baby
Mm-hmm.
is something like crazy. I'm gonna make up a
Okay.
percentage, but from my
Okay.
memory, it's
But
something
even,
like 10% or 5% or something,
oh
and it's
wow,
like,
I didn't even
yeah,
know that like extent. But this mentality that, you see, this is my thing, especially for women. This mentality that, oh, be like men in your 20s, 30s is not like, I don't think it's like, it's not a good thing. I don't think, from
mm,
things that I have like figured out and read on this, and this, Louise Perry, learning, things like that has really made me have a very, very different like perspective on different things now. Do you know what I'm saying and
yeah.
stuff? But as
And
in,
it's not
sorry,
even like, yeah. Sorry, I just want
yeah,
to
no,
say that it's
continue.
not even
Yeah, yeah,
just
say.
like, it's not even that it's not just even that it's like not
Mm,
good. It's that like
mm.
it's not possible. It's like we're being told that we can do this, and then
Yeah,
a lot of times
exactly.
we
Yeah,
can't.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's just like
yeah.
at the end of the day, it's just like
Mm.
we're like I mean, I will
Wait,
never
this,
forget like a
it's
discussion I
scammy. It's
had.
scammed.
Yeah,
You've been scammed.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's why I'm like. That's why, like, that's why, like, you may think I've been like quite weird lately. Do you know what I'm saying and stuff? Because like I've gone into a rabbit hole and stuff like that, and it's because like I all this just standard media has been lying to us, and I've gone to the
Mm.
other side. That's what I'm saying. You just say, but you guys are thinking I'm
Yeah,
crazy, and I was like,
I'm not
look,
I
that's
think
why you.
with some things that you're crazy, but
You see,
like
I know, I understand, but it's like if you go through the rabbit hole I've gone through, you may. I'm not saying you will. I'm saying you may
yeah.
have the understanding of why I'm thinking these ways. Like, do you know what I'm
What is
saying and
actually
stuff?
really
But
funny about this, I
yeah,
think, is that
yeah,
when
yes.
this
Mm.
is somewhat
Mm.
to back you up,
It's
right? Because when I
okay.
finished
Yeah.
reading the book,
The
right,
book. Yeah.
I was like, let me
Mm.
Google this Louise Perry person, like to be
Uh-huh.
like,
Yes.
okay, am I going to see
Mm.
that she's some crazy right wing like thing?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yes.
But when I like
Yeah.
Googled her,
Mm.
like
Yeah.
I didn't really see anything that was like crazy red flag to me or
Yeah.
anything like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But I think,
Mm-hmm.
like, I guess my point is that
Mm.
I can resonate
Mm.
with the feeling of like, oh, am I about to go down a rabbit hole that's going to turn me
Yeah.
into like some conservative person?
So,
But
yeah. No,
yeah,
but the thing is that, do you know? But the thing is that the the media does not share her. Like, do you know what I'm saying? She should be very popular. Do you know what I'm
yeah, I
saying? She should
agree.
be
I
extremely
agree.
popular, but they're not.
Yeah.
They're actually purposely not showing. I know we're getting all political, so they're actually
Okay.
not showing
Was a
her. Do you know what I'm
conspiracy?
saying? No, seriously, you say it's a conspiracy, but she should be like a New York Times bestseller and stuff like that. But
Oh,
like
she's
they're
not.
not showing. I don't. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I saw this her podcast and stuff through right wing stuff.
Oh
Like, do you know
my
what I'm
God.
saying? What they'll say right wing things. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's not. First of
Yeah,
all, I don't
yeah.
see it as right wing. But like,
I
there's some
also
that
do
are
not
right
see it
wing.
as right wing either. I
Eh,
think
but
it is.
but people will say it as right. They'll look at her as right wing because even her. That's what I like about her because she came from a liberal point of view. At a, do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
She's a
Because she
liberal.
calls herself, what's it called?
Yeah, she calls herself.
Radical
Yeah,
feminist. Yeah. So it's not even like she's identifies as like on the right or something.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
as in, she's definitely would consider herself more conservative now. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Because of what, the things that she's seen and stuff like that. Even like her, do you know what I'm saying? Even if you listen to her podcast and stuff like that, you'd think that like she's sort of right wing or whatever, but she's just more conservative now, I guess. I don't know how to put it, but you
Fair.
can actually
Fair.
like, but the thing is that when we now look at conservative, we look at it like, this like
Like Trump,
is I just think it's
make
balanced.
America great
Yes,
again.
I just think it's like a balanced, like not not liberal point of view. I don't know how to put it, just not
No, I
liberal,
get what
but
you
it's
mean
now put
because
like
everything is kind of like
mm, mm.
extremes now, right? So even if
Yeah,
you
exactly.
are
When
somewhat
you're
in the
balanced, you're
middle,
now yeah,
like
exactly. You're now
to the right
put
you
into
look like,
that.
oh, you're in the left, to the left you look like you're in the right. So it's like
Yeah, yeah.
is
But
yeah.
anyways, yeah, like even like this like thing about okay, you were talking about marriage being good and stuff like marriage is good. That I my because I have more like a little more understanding with the history of marriage. Like I just read one book, I don't know everything, so let me not
Yeah.
say what's it called. But as in based on the history, it wasn't to tie men down. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you know what I'm saying? It was more like a political, like more of like joining of lands and
Oh
power.
yeah,
Do
yeah,
you know what I'm
of
saying and
course.
stuff?
Yeah.
So this idea that is about male dominating and stuff like that, it's not of that case. Even if I go look at it historically and stuff,
Oh, you mean
and
like
things.
what historically it's not about like I guess
It's not
misogyny. It's
about.
about like
Yes, exactly. It's
yeah.
not
Yeah, no, I
misogyny.
think
Do you know what I'm
people
saying?
agree
It's
with
not.
that. I think that is
Yeah,
not a controversial statement.
yeah,
But I guess what she's
yeah,
trying to say is that nowadays a lot of like
yeah,
women or even I guess a lot of liberal women will say that
yeah,
like
yeah,
oh there's no point in like marriage does not benefit the woman in any way.
yeah.
And like
Exactly.
I guess her point is to say that like
Mm, mm,
there is this benefit when you're already in a situation because people say oh marriage is not
mm,
beneficial like everybody should
mm,
just be and it comes from a very oh
mm.
like I'm just individualistic
Take care of her
thing,
exactly.
right? But if you are going to
Mm,
be in a situation where you can't be individualistic because you are
yeah,
having a child having a family and stuff, then
exactly.
marriage is beneficial because like
Mm,
it
mm.
is also serving that kind of like protective function and stuff but like
Processive, yeah.
um
Mm-hmm,
yeah
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
yeah
Um. Yeah. What else? Did.
um
Mm-hmm.
well I guess one thing I
Yeah.
wanted to say I
Mm,
haven't like
okay.
I'm trying to find the quote. I can't really find it, but I think
Sorry. That
what
was
happened?
here.
Oh, okay.
That
I was
was
like,
here.
oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Let me move
Okay.
it.
Okay. 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 Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Mhm.
what was I trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
Mm.
the what was a bit
Mm.
maybe eye opening or something was
Yeah.
how it's like we think it's like, or at least the story that we've been told as
Yeah.
women, young women,
Yeah. Yeah.
feminist women and stuff is that like
Mhm.
wanting to like have sex with different people, or like maybe I
Mhm.
guess being less quote unquote selective with how you want to like date and stuff is now kind of seen as like, oh, you're not being, or like you're almost repressed and stuff. So in one way, and that's where the
Yes, exactly.
co-consenting
That's
comes
something.
from as well, because it's
Mhm.
like, oh,
Yeah.
is
Mm.
somebody really
Mm.
consenting to having casual sex if
Mm.
you're in an
Mm.
environment where you're basically being pushed
Exactly.
to having
Pushed.
like casual sex?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
yeah,
Mm.
it just was very eye-opening because I was just like, oh yeah,
Mm.
this is true. Like even if
Mm.
like you feel, we're made to feel like it is
Mm.
empowering to do that even if it's
Mm.
not really what we want to do.
Yeah, to do. Yeah. Yeah.
And then at the
Yeah.
end of
And
the
even.
day,
Mm.
yeah, sorry, and at the end
No
of the day,
conflict.
which is what I was telling like Tosin, is that like it's not actually
Mm.
benefiting us at the end of the day. Like it's benefiting the man because
The man.
it is,
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
exactly. So it's like, how can it
Mhm.
be empowering to do something that like the person in power actually wants you to do?
You
Like
do exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's actually interesting. Yeah, exactly. And for me, I remember being like, I don't like. I'm not that person. Yeah, I'm saying like I'm not. Oh, I like sex or whatever like that. And I just thought maybe I'm an odd person. Yeah, I thought I was just like I was just accepting that, oh, maybe I'm just different. Maybe I'm not sexually whatever thing. And then when I
mm.
read this book, I was like, oh, so I'm normal. I'm the normal person. Like, do you know what I'm saying? And people that want to do all that, is either that they're denying themselves or they're just the outliers,
Yeah, exactly. And
the
like
different ones
she
and
also
stuff.
says that
Yeah.
it's not like women cannot be high in this
Yeah.
socio-sexuality thing. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
that if
but
you
it's not
look,
common.
it's more common in men basically to be high.
Man, yeah, exactly. Which makes
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually I even want to bring this up
Mm,
because
yeah.
like I feel like we've had a very
Mm.
similar experience, but she
Oh,
I
okay.
actually almost like laughed or screamed or something when
Mm.
she said this because she wrote
What?
like,
Okay.
oh, okay, this is a quote. Rather than recognize
Mm.
the difference between men and women on
Mm.
this most crucial of issues,
Mm.
the writers instead attempt to carve out a new gender neutral sexual minority of quote unquote demisexuals who just aren't
Mm.
enthused about casual sex. And I have told everybody that I'm a demisexual because, like, I literally have, I don't know when I
Wow.
did a quiz or something, and I was like,
Okay.
I don't know how I discovered this. And I was like, oh, yeah, this
Okay.
sounds exactly like me. And then the fact that she was just like, yeah, that's just like regular, I guess, for the most
Yeah,
part.
exactly.
Just like, yeah, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Okay.
was kind of interesting.
Mm.
But I think like
Okay. Yeah.
I mean with the demisexual thing, obviously there's obviously going to
Mm.
be like um degrees of it. But I just thought it was
Mm-hmm.
interesting because actually
Mm.
people use demisexual as um like this is somebody who doesn't want to just have
Yeah.
sex with people without like getting to know them and
Yeah.
stuff first,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
act
That's
as if
just
that is
normal.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like a weird
Yeah.
niche or something, and I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, maybe it's not
Okay.
actually
Yeah.
a weird niche,
No,
but yeah.
it's just like normal. Yeah. For a woman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, or more.
Yeah.
And one other thing that
Yeah.
was quite interesting when she was going back into the science
Mm.
of saying, oh, men are like higher in sociosexuality, she was saying
Mm-hmm.
how there's actually like men have way more of that variety. So like for women it's
Mm-hmm.
more like a standard, I guess, what's it called,
Mm.
bell curve, and that majority
Yeah, yeah.
are like
Mm.
in the middle. You have some
Yeah.
high, you have some low, but for men it's almost like they are all over the place. Like you have a lot of men who are high, a lot of men who are medium, a lot
Yeah.
of men who are low.
Mm,
And she
mm,
like the study she used for this was like looking at um
mm.
lesbian couples versus like gay men couples. And for lesbian
Yeah, yeah, and
couples,
they
yeah,
have more like standard relationships than males.
yeah, so for lesbian couples, it was
Yeah.
like, oh, they have had sex with like one partner in a year or
The-
something, and like,
yeah.
and they are more likely to only have
Mm.
sex with someone after they've known them for a longer period of time.
Total
Whereas
time.
with gay
Yeah.
men, they had like the whole spectrum. It wasn't just
Sexual,
like, oh,
exactly. Yeah.
it's not like just,
Mm,
oh, most gay men are one way. It's like
mm,
a lot of gay
mm.
men are high, a lot of gay men are
Yeah.
low, a lot of gay men are in the
Mm,
middle. So like men just
mm,
represent the whole spectrum, whereas women are a lot more like
mm,
one
mm.
thing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
yeah, yeah. Let me see what else
That's,
I thought was
mm.
interesting. I thought the thought experiments that she said, I'm gonna find it in my thing. It's like um actually I'm just going to get my Kobo and
Oh
get the
gosh.
quote. It was basically like, oh, okay, a person a man like buys a chicken from a store and then takes it home and
Mm,
has sex with it and eats it. Like, is that wrong? And if so, why? And like
mm,
for a lot of like I guess more conservative leaning people,
mm,
they say no, it's wrong because like of just on a moral level of like no, that's there
mm,
are some things that are just plain wrong. Like she said, one of
mm,
her things is like some
mm.
desires are bad. Like some things are just it's just a
Yeah.
wrong act because it's wrong,
Something.
right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
person, and I still struggle with it myself actually in answering this
Mm,
question because
mm,
from a like more liberal
mm,
perspective, it's like
mm,
something is only really wrong if you can directly say who is hurt in the situation or
mm,
like
mm,
yeah, and like in that situation nobody is hurt.
mm,
But then
mm,
so for in that situation I still can't tell you whether I think it is
mm,
weird, I guess, and I don't want to know that person, but I can't say that it is wrong. But like when she switched it to a different example, the other example
mm,
was like, okay, child pornography. Obviously everybody
mm.
will say it is wrong if there's
Yeah,
an
wrong.
actual
Yeah.
child who
Mm,
is like
mm, mm,
in the video. But what if it's
mm.
just like a what if it's like
AI.
an AI thing? Like, is it
Yeah,
wrong?
yeah.
Like,
Wrong.
and
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
very difficult if for somebody who
Mm,
says, okay, well, it's just based on like who is harmed in the situation. Nobody is harmed in the
mm,
making of like
mm,
AI child porn,
mm.
but
You want?
like,
Yeah.
but so how can like,
Mm,
there's no, I don't have any, I have
mm.
no reason to say that it is wrong, even though I think it is wrong.
It's
But
wrong.
if,
Mm-hmm.
but for people who are a bit more conservative,
Mm.
they're more quick, they're more able to just say
Easy
it is
to
wrong because
find
the act
what it
itself
is
is
that's
wrong.
wrong. Mm-hmm.
And I think
Yeah.
for me, because she had a whole chapter on that, on different things and like
Mm,
BDSM and all of that kind of stuff. And I
mm,
guess her
yeah.
argument was that some types of like things are wrong, like and
Mm-hmm.
like with the AI child porn,
Mm,
I think that's wrong, but I
mm,
can't say why it is wrong.
it will. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think for me, it's just I think I can, you know, how do I put it? I think the chicken is wrong because it can also like I think I'm like how do I put it? I think that kind of thought can become something that can be hurtful. So I don't think it should just be done. Do you know
But
what I'm saying? Like that's
what if
how
it
I
doesn't though?
no, but if you keep on encouraging that kind of stupid sick thing, like do you know what I'm saying? It
Okay.
will, it will, it will. It's not like something that won't ever. It will it will manifest
Mm,
like in some
mm,
way. Like it just does normally when a bad thing keeps on happening, like thoughts or whatever. You're going to it's just going to happen. It's going to evolve into something else. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, and I
um,
don't think that's something that should be
yeah.
like encouraged and stuff. And I think that's where the child pornography, and that's why the child pornography hits you because it can evolve to something else. Like, because children is now children, you're like, oh, it's children. Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I guess
Stuff. Do
because
you
I
get what I'm
feel
saying?
like it
And
could lead
because
to, if the
it
person
could
is already
lead
indulging that
adulting in
thing,
that kind of
then
what's
like,
it called,
yeah,
then yeah, yeah. So I
okay,
don't. I
that's
That's how
okay.
I
I think
look
that
at
makes
it.
sense.
Yeah,
Because I guess because I
that's how
can't
I
draw
look
the
at it.
line between, okay, the person
Yeah,
is having sex with the chicken into like
yeah.
what is the wrong thing. It's harder for
Mm,
me to say it is wrong. But if I can draw
mm-hmm,
the line, like in the AI child porn, I can say
mm.
this is wrong because it
Yeah,
is
drunk. Yeah,
like
and
it
I think
can
that's
lead to
for
this.
me.
But yeah.
That's it for me. And I think maybe like some people argue with me with that kind of thing. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Is that
Mm,
I have this very like moralistic stance of things, and people like for me, I look at it that if you can do this without nobody seeing, do you know what I'm saying? It can always emulate to something bad. Do you know what I'm saying? Any like bad thing, you should try
right.
not to do it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because like it
Yeah.
will
Okay.
still end up hurting somebody in some way. Like even if it's even yourself, and that yourself will hurt somebody. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so we need to
Mm,
like, you know, there is something that is bad. Do you know what I'm saying? And there's something that is good. And of course, these things are really like hard to differentiate and stuff. Do you get what I'm saying? And it can be really nuanced and things, but I do believe that there's like a fundamental like moralistic code to things
mm.
and stuff. And yeah, like and it's obviously can be difficult to find out, but I do believe like there are ways of finding out and stuff. And if you have like
Um.
you're doing
Yeah.
something bad, generally like it
But the
will kind
problem
of
with that,
manifest.
like, is always that like different people think that different things are bad. So it's like, how do
I
you
understand. Okay, we're going to
like,
start. That's
yeah.
a whole philosophical thing. I
Okay.
think maybe we'll talk about it another time. But I do believe that there are fundamental truths
Okay,
in the whole
interesting.
world.
Okay. Yeah,
Do
we'll
you know what I'm
talk
saying?
about
In
that
the
a different
world.
time
Just
then.
that's what I'm saying. So that
Okay.
one, there are other things that you can say that is good or bad that is very superficial. Like, oh, chocolate is good or chocolate is bad. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to affect
Mm,
your fundamental what's called. But
right.
do, is good nutrition good? Do you know what I'm saying? Or nutrition bad?
Mm,
Like, you will know that the fundamental is there's a fundamental thing that like affects everybody. It's like saying like
fair.
I don't know if you know about the blue zones and stuff. Like people are living longer at in
Oh
particular
yeah, I've
places,
heard of that.
and they all have like a unifying like, do you know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Thing of why they're living that well. Do you know what I'm saying? Living that long and healthy in a healthy manner. Do you know what I'm saying? And stuff, and they're in different parts of the world,
mm.
and there's still some sort of unifying thing. And so that's how I think also, even with living well, like even mentally and psychologically, there are things fundamental that needs to be straight. But we'll talk about that another time because
Yeah,
that's
we'll
a whole
definitely talk
long
about
thing
that another time
and stuff.
because like
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
not that I disagree, but like I've thought a lot about like
yeah,
what is good, what is bad. Is there
yeah,
any
yeah,
such
yeah,
thing as good
yeah,
as bad? And like
yeah,
I don't know. So we'll definitely talk about that. But
yeah.
there's one other
About
thing. I
that,
was just
yeah.
looking through like my thing
Okay,
that I
okay,
wanted
okay.
to mention
Yeah.
was the
Oh
whole
yes,
thing
and
of
one
luck.
thing I want to mention.
Okay, okay, cool.
There's one thing I want to mention about
Yeah. So this was the whole
before we
thing
leave.
about like luxury beliefs, which I know that you had sent me like an article about it
Yeah, okay, I forgot
at
about
one
it.
point,
Okay.
and it ties in
Yeah.
again to the whole sex work is
Yeah.
work thing. So she talked about
Yeah.
how like there's
Mm-hmm. Oh,
certain
I love that
beliefs
part.
that
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah, there's certain beliefs
Mm-hmm.
that like, or she said luxury beliefs describe the kind of
Mm-hmm.
ideas and opinions that confer
Mm-hmm.
status upon the rich at very little
Mm-hmm.
cost while taking a toll on the poor.
I've
So for
read his book.
example, oh my God, of
Yeah,
course you
but
have.
yeah. Yes.
So the
Yeah.
point she's making here was that like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
believing that, oh, sex work is fine, right? It
Mm-hmm.
benefits the people who are
Mm.
like, she's mentioned, like white, like
Up class.
in a
Upper
upper,
class.
like
Yeah.
even middle
Yeah.
class, I guess, but shy like you're living
Mm.
in a developing country, or sorry, developed
Yeah.
country, and
Yes.
like
Mm-hmm.
you have access
Mm-hmm.
to like, I don't know, a lot of stable
Mm.
things. So like it
Yeah.
even reminds me of this girl on TikTok that I
Mm.
watch her videos, and she's lives in
Mm.
Australia, and she's like a sex worker, and she like comes on TikTok counting like the ten
Yeah.
thousand Australian dollars she made each week and everything. She's very
Wow.
entertaining.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's like, if you see that,
Mm,
you're like, oh, of
mm.
course, yeah, she's
It's,
working, like
yeah, yeah,
she looks okay. But like
yeah.
the vast majority of people who are in the sex
Who are
work
in sex work
industry
are not,
um
yeah,
are the poorer people, right? Are the ones who like
mm-hmm,
they're
are
not in it
suffering.
because they want to be. They're like either being trafficked, or like they're doing it because this is
Exactly.
like literally the
Mm.
only way that they can put food on the table and stuff. And like being
Dude,
like, oh yeah, this is just like they should
yeah,
just like, we should just treat this as it's fine. It's like you're basically ignoring the vast majority of people in this industry who
yeah,
are like
mm-hmm,
not doing it because, oh, sex work is work. They're
mm,
doing it
yeah,
completely, like not like they're not even able to
yeah,
do the consent that we're saying that like
yeah,
people
exactly.
can do,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Dude,
yeah.
I read the most depressing graphic novel ever. I don't even know if I should suggest it to you. I think
Okay,
it was so depressing. Like, and it's
what's
about
it
this,
called?
it's sort of like
Okay,
grass,
it's called
grass.
Grass. Okay, I haven't heard of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna
It's
read
really
it.
different. I don't think you should read it. Like, I don't know if
Okay,
I don't think you should read it. Like, I don't even
all
know.
right,
Yeah, it's just really
it's
depressing.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, you would never think that sex work is work when you
Oh,
read that book.
okay.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. And like,
yeah,
sorry,
one
just
thing I
one.
wanted to say. Yeah, you keep on
Sorry,
saying
sorry.
one
It's
thing.
not
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
different topic. I just want to say
Okay,
that,
okay.
like, with the whole
Yeah,
sex workers work thing, like,
yeah.
it is kind of what she said in that, like, yes, it benefits some people. Like, I guess the
Mm,
Australian lady that I follow,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it benefits her because there is somewhat a bit less stigma on her now, and she's able to
Yeah.
like do. But it's like
Mm,
at the cost of people feel, at the cost of like the other people, right? So like,
well,
sex workers
exactly.
work applies to some people, but it's not applying to everybody. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. You can talk
Hmm.
now. Sorry.
Okay. The one thing I'll say that I disagree with her with the whole book, that I was like, no. As in, she hasn't talked about it properly. It's about the, talking about the clothes that somebody wears. Do you know what I'm saying? About,
I don't remember.
oh, like, you should be careful of what you wear to a club or something, and be
Oh
careful
yeah,
and
she
stuff
was.
like that. Like, because men could like feel like, oh, like rape, or, do you know what I'm saying?
I
That thing.
think
And
that
I was
like
like,
her
no,
argument was
I
not really
understand
like
what
that
she's.
though. Yeah.
No, but her argument was more like, oh, be careful what you wear. Do you know what I'm saying? And stuff. Not, I agree that you should be careful
Yeah.
what you wear, but the following thing was like more like, oh, because like what guys can do. Do you know what I'm saying? Guys also are just, the animalistic whatever thing.
Yeah.
Do you remember that argument and stuff? But I'm saying that most rape, most all that like sexual whatever that happens is actually done with people that you know.
Yeah. She
Like,
does
just
like
so, does she?
she
No,
does
I don't
say
think
this
she
actually.
does.
No, she actually does, because
Okay, what
I
do you
remember
say?
this, which is why I
Okay,
didn't come out of that chapter feeling the way that you feel, maybe.
okay,
Because what
because
she said
I
was,
don't remember
yeah,
what.
the argument at
Okay.
first was that like she
Mm.
wasn't saying, oh, don't wear something skimpy. She was even more talking about, oh, like if you're going out, right, don't go out like by
Yeah,
yourself
with people.
with men.
Yeah, yeah, I
And she
understand. Yeah,
specifically
yeah,
mentioned like, oh, the shoes that you're wearing, right? Because like, oh,
yeah,
if you
yeah.
go out to a club, you're by
Mm,
yourself, you're
mm.
with strange men. Like,
Yeah,
first
yeah,
of all, they're already faster than you, but now you're wearing like
yeah,
9 inch
exactly.
heels.
Yeah, yeah,
So how are you
exactly. Yeah,
going to
yeah,
even
yeah.
try to
Two. Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
not
Yeah,
even a
yeah.
thing of like, oh, don't wear those heels or something. It's more like, be
Yeah,
aware that like doing that
yeah.
is going to like sort of
Mm-hmm.
diminish your ability to actually like
T
get
two.
out if you
Yeah.
are in that
I'll take
situation.
it.
But
Yeah.
what her actual advice in general was like, oh,
Mm.
if you're going out, like go out with a group of
Yeah, yeah.
women and stuff
I
like
agree with
that.
that.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But at
Mm-hmm.
least when I read it, it didn't come across to me as she was saying like, oh, like don't wear skimpy clothes
Okay,
or something
let
because
me.
they're gonna attract men. Because she also specifically said that, yes, this thing I'm saying, like there's a lot of
Yeah.
like the majority of like rapes and stuff
Mm.
happen from people that like like your husband or something, or like
Yeah, she
just
said that. I
random
don't
things like
remember.
that.
Okay, okay,
She
fine,
definitely
fine.
mentions it, but like she said
Okay,
that
okay.
she was more
Yeah,
talking
okay.
even to like freshmen in college,
Yeah, yes, I
and
understand
in
what you're
that she
saying.
was like,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
Okay. Okay.
But I
Yeah.
get what you mean. But at least the way I read it, I didn't read it as she was trying to be
Okay.
like,
Let me.
oh, don't wear skimpy clothing. But
Yeah. Mm.
yeah. I'll see
Mm.
if I can find the quotes where she
Yeah,
like
but yeah,
actually
okay.
said that. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But you see, this is what it
Um
says about like. Oh, anyways, don't worry, don't worry. It's
yeah.
fine.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
there's just like
Okay.
so much in this book that was really, really interesting. And
Really,
like
yeah. I'm happy you like
yeah.
read it. I'm happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And now that we've done this, like the
Mhm.
two of our cousins that you said you gave the book to, the two
Yeah.
I what I told you was that one of them is gonna read it, just not now, and the second one I don't know.
Okay.
And when I spoke to
Okay.
them, it was exactly what I said. The first one was like, I'm gonna read it, just not now. And then the second one
Yeah.
was like, I don't know that I'm going to read it. So I said that me and Modi are going to talk
Yeah.
about it on our podcast, and I'll send you the link so that you can
Okay.
like hear
Okay.
our conversation.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But
Okay. Cool, cool. Okay.
um
Awesome.
yeah,
I think
cool.
I think we're good.
Okay. What are you
Uh,
watching right now? Anything quick to recommend to people?
Watching. Oh,
Watching,
you
listening
know, I
to.
really
I'm
don't watch
re-listening
anything
to Hello
anymore.
Internet, so that's my own
Oh
like
gosh. I don't I
recommendation.
you know like I'm really like I actually now starting to feel like watching stuff is a waste of my time. Like if I'm watching like
mm,
stuff like YouTube, like just very like
mm. Not
I'm
like
not
a TV show.
no, no, even if the TV show is like just very nothing really interesting. Okay, you know what? Actually, I don't know. This is. Have you heard of Clarkson's Farm? I thought that was, is a really good
No.
like. So do you know Jeremy Clarkson, the guy that used to do those TV show of cars, like British. I wasn't the name of the show.
Is it like
Jeremy Clarkson.
I don't know what you're talking about, but is
Let me
it like
say
I forget what it's called. There's one show.
Clarkson.
I actually don't know. I haven't watched it. If
Wait,
it's the show that I'm thinking of. But
wait. Let me get it. Taking a while. Jeremy Clarkson. So this British guy, like he's very he's famous and stuff, and he retired. He sort of he had this farm like that some guy was taking care of and
mm-hmm.
stuff, like this acres, like a lot of acres. And
Mm.
the guy was like, I'm retiring, and he was just like, okay, he's gonna take over. It was during 2020, like he took over the farm and he started recording like the his experiences with the farm, taking care of the farm and stuff,
Mm.
and it's just I think it's interesting understanding just farming like in like modern farming now,
Mm.
and also even in the British, like the rules and regulations you have to go through and all that stuff. Um and yeah, oh, Top Gear.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking,
So
but I
he
couldn't
was one
remember the
of the
name.
he was some yeah, Top Gear. So and he started. So I think he's done 3 seasons now, and he's going to do one more last season. But that's something that I've
Mm.
watched and I really enjoyed. I've really enjoyed it and stuff. I don't
Okay,
know if anyone. It's
interesting.
a sort of a
That's very
niche
random.
thing. I just
Like,
Yes, it's very random, but it's really for me. It was it's very entertaining, and the guy's entertaining anyways. He's like sort of a douchey guy. Not to me, but to a lot of people.
okay,
Like, I think
okay,
he's just like he's a raw personality and stuff.
okay.
And he deals with taking care of the farm, and and he has like a lot of kickback from his village. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they don't want
Right.
him to. They're like, oh, you're not even a farmer. You're just a famous person and stuff. And it's just like,
Right.
okay, yeah. So that's a good one. I'll say that one. Like, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Interesting. All right.
yeah.
Cool.
That's the
Yeah.
one. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, I don't really
Mhm.
have, I mean, like I said, I'm
Yeah.
re-listening to Hello Internet. I'm also
Ugh.
re-watching Gossip Girl. I've been sort
Oh
of
my
dipping in and
gosh.
out of Grey's Anatomy. I'm trying to catch up, but I was watching it a lot a few months ago and then I stopped because
Mhm.
obviously it's crap. At this point, I'm on like season
Mhm.
18 or something now, but I've
Oh
actually
my
like
gosh, this guy.
made progress, but we'll see. I
Oh
don't know
my
if I'll ever
gosh.
catch up because yeah.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, I
Okay.
started rewatching
Okay.
Gossip Girl last night and
Mhm.
it's been interesting.
Great.
So yeah, I know
Fantastic.
those are definitely
Okay.
waste of time shows.
It's just, yeah. Hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Okay, cool.
thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
We'll talk again later.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.